gotten a lot of requests for it, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. The #1 overall player in the nation, 25 of them. Let's go through their careers. I've gone through, done just about every other position that I thought would be semi-interesting. You know, I didn't do lineman or safety, kicker, punter, but for the most part, we've done all the major positions. So let's wrap things up by doing the #1 overall player, and we start things off with a defensive end, Johnny Verrett, who's going to be going to Georgia. And you can see by his skill ceiling, very good player off the bat. And with these players, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly they go to the NFL, and if any of these guys are willing to commit to lesser schools or just go to Georgia level teams. The #1 overall player in year 2, he's going to go to Ohio State, and as usual, we will hop in, spectate these games, and whenever we get the opportunity to see them in the playoffs, we will do just that. And with Johnny Verrett, he's going to be coming in here now as an 81 overall, going up to an 83, and then we have Caleb Droogsma going to a 78 overall, and you could already see the first two players basically just infinite skill ceilings. So if that's going to be the expectation that we're going to see throughout this video, you're going to get some really crazy players. But in the third guy, he's going to be a bust, and it's back-to-back corners, back-to-back slot corners to be specific. I have no clue what the most dominant position will be, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be something that'd be consistent if we did this experiment multiple times over. But Johnny Verrett is already at a point now in his third season where he's going to actually be a legitimate starter for Georgia. Droogsma looking pretty nice, a +5 overall jump for him, and he's going to at least get an opportunity to see the field a little bit as a dime corner. And then Stephen Pryor, I mean, this is a bust, 78 overall star. That's still really good. I mean, obviously his skill ceilings are a little bit less than these other guys, you know, rather than 9 and 10 out of 10, so it's 7 out of 10s, but he could still be a really good player. And if that's the #1 guy and that's the worst it's gonna be, obviously we'll still take that. A quarterback is up next, so we have that to look forward to, and we actually get a little bit of playoff action here in Georgia. The #1 overall recruit for the first season, Verrett, is going to be on defense here, but his defense hasn't done a very good job against Boise State, allowing 35 points, but they got the stop there. Georgia's offense trying to seal the game up as they got to the 41-yard line with a nice pass over the middle. The quarterback is lighting things up, and he's going to throw once again. Now he's going to tuck and run it. Got the first down marker, slides down, and converts another third down. Now 3 minutes to play as they hand it off, and that's going to be another first, and they're in the red zone, closing in on the goal line. Inside the 5 now is going to be a handoff, and he's going to get stood up, but he got the first. Goal to go, another run, and a touchdown for Georgia. So with under 2 minutes to play, the touchdown's going to seal the game. And even though the defense was struggling, the offense was incredible. And now you got a tie game here in the second round against USF. 24-24 is the defense doing a little bit better, but it's going to be up to them to hold on. As a broken tackle there is going to spring the receiver for a nice gain. You had him wrapped up, but now you got a new set of downs. Now it's going to be third down, and the defense this time makes the open field tackle, does their job, but they got into field goal range, they felt like, and that ball's going to hit the upright, and it's no good. So it did just enough to make sure that they couldn't hit that kick from way far out. Now Georgia's offense, with just over a minute to play, is going to have the opportunity to win this game in regulation, throwing one deep down the field. It's caught. Touchdown, Georgia. And that's going to be a minute to play. So USF, they should know Georgia's defense is gettable after their performance last week at 24 points allowed this week. Can they go get it to 31, take this game to overtime? They're already in enemy territory, but there's just about 40 seconds to play. Blitz sent in. Quarterback's going to bail left, and he's going to run it. He's got the first down. He fights for it and has it. Stopping the clock. They're going to spike the football and now go and get sacked here. The pressure got in this time. Third down and very long. 20 seconds to play. He's going to dump that down and get it closer, so a more manageable fourth down. But there's like 10 seconds to play. You got to throw one out, and it's going to be swatted down. Georgia is moving on to the semifinals. So the defense does their job this time around and does enough. And Georgia's offense is going to be in another shootout, though. The defense is not doing so well as a whole in this playoff appearances, as they've allowed over 30 points a game in these 3 games. So Verrett, despite his best efforts, isn't doing a whole lot. Now the offense turns the football over, and with 2 minutes to go, the defense got to make a big play. They haven't done much in this playoff run, but they got a big play here for Notre Dame, and the defense continues to let Georgia down. A handoff up the middle, untouched for the first down. And now just running the clock down. They're going to hand it off. First down again, and it allows them to run the clock all the way down to the very end. Kick a field goal. It is good, and Georgia goes down because of the defense. I mean, Georgia's offense put up over 30 points in each of the games, and they still eventually lost, and that didn't take away from the fact that Verrett had a really good season. It wasn't necessarily on him, but the rest of the team surrounding him, not good, and I tried to see what I could do when it comes to getting these players to stick around. Obviously, when you're a 90-plus overall, you're going to hit the NFL as soon as you get the opportunity. And the quarterback, he's going to go to Penn State. So Penn State back-to-back recruits. And we already got a player going into the first round because he declared so early after one good season prior. He's looking pretty nice. He's pretty athletic. And, you know, once again, for a bust, pretty good stuff. Shaheed, the quarterback, is a great player, a star quarterback with a lot of opportunity to be good. And when you got two players now, two #1 overall recruits, one on offense, one on defense, expectations are Penn State should be coming out here and doing something eventually. Now we got a running back on the board, so at least we're spreading things around. We got couple defensive players, couple offensive players, another playoff appearance for some of these teams, and Michigan is going to go down to Ohio State in the playoffs, so Droogsma, now a starting corner full-time, is going to come out here, smack around Miami 24-0. Now that's a defense that can get the job done, but unfortunately, offense couldn't help him. I'm disappointed that we had 3 playoff games and we couldn't get, you know, a game that was really all that close, because even 17-7, it just wasn't a close game. It was like that forever. So moving on to what the next player is going to be. Running back Hurley is going to go to Maryland, and Maryland's a curious spot because I feel like anytime we have one of these players in these videos go to Maryland, we never get to watch them. Maryland never does good whenever we have a player to focus on, so here's hoping that changes in this video, but I want to at least put this at the start of the video or close to the start to remind you guys to like, comment, subscribe, all the stuff that will be super helpful for this channel as I continue to get videos out for you guys. I try to upload 3 times a week, and any amount of support is much appreciated, so I thank you guys for all of that, you know, in advance. If you do care to subscribe or like the video, you can take a peek at the running back, who is another star player, so stars and elites across the board so far early on, and I'll be sure to show you guys stats from the players each and every season. If I don't show you the stats, it's because they didn't play a significant amount or enough to warrant me showing you anything. And then, you know, I'll be sure to have the spot where they are in the depth chart on the screen each and every season and where their overalls jump up to. No playoff appearance this year, even though Penn State's got both of the players starting the quarterback in his first season. Pretty good job. Droogsma's going to be back for a 5th year, so good on him to stick around. I mean, he was about ready to declare to the NFL if he wanted to. Pryor is going to be back with another season, so we're going to have 2 legitimate starters here for Penn State now, you know, with the quarterback having a full year to play, and he played really well. And just in general, we don't get many opportunities to see multiple players on the same team, and when we usually do these videos, it's the same position, so having it be one on offense, one on defense, we'll always have something to keep an eye on. The next player, Justice Turbin, he's going to end up at Arkansas, and for a guy walking in day 1, pretty far along in a lot of his skill cap areas and still has room to grow. He's a physical wide receiver, so when we move on to the next season, it's going to be back-to-back on the wide receiver, but this time it's going to be a route runner, which if you watch the wide receiver video is very up in the air of how good he's going to be. This next season went pretty crazy because Bradley Rashid threw 56 touchdowns and he won the Heisman. But it's not just that, because on the other side of the ball, Stephen Pryor gets 7 interceptions and wins Best Defensive Back. So obviously, both of them winning awards. They're All-Americans. Droogsma also made All-American, but you can imagine Heisman winner and all that stuff. They're in the playoffs against Alabama with a 4-point lead with 4.5 minutes to play. We got players to watch on both sides of the football. They're getting sacked here, but we have a Heisman-winning quarterback who's threatening to break the touchdown record because of the playoffs. Another sack here. It's going to be 3rd down and very long. Alabama, can they get a conversion? No, they cannot. It's 4th down and 19. They punt the football away, and it's going to be play action. Rashid over the middle, caught 1st down and more. Spin move to the 30-yard line and inside, and they're going to be trying to chew this clock down, but can they get a touchdown to put this thing away? Caught inside the 10-yard line. It's goal to go. 2-minute warning is here. They're continuing to chew this clock. 3rd down. It gets broken up, so they're going to have to settle for a field goal. It is good, but Alabama, the door is still open with 1:40 to play in a 1-score game. A 1st down gotten there on 3rd down, so they're going to hurry things up. Going 1st down and 10. Another pass caught 1st down. Now they're getting a little bit closer, close to midfield. 2nd down and 3. Now they're in enemy territory with a 3rd 1st down. 2nd down, and after an incomplete pass, they throw one outside. Caught, and that's the biggest gain of the drive so far, and he's going to go all the way touchdown, and we're in overtime. So Penn State is going to be up to the quarterback to see if he can prove why he is the Heisman winner. He's got a pass out there, caught for the first down. He's over 300 yards on the game. He's going to look, throw one middle. That's going to be caught. Touchdown. That's number 58 on the season. And now Alabama's going to have to respond, and they're going to get sacked, fumble the football, and it's going to be picked up by Alabama. They're going to hold on. It's third down and long, though. They got to throw up the right side, caught in between the zones, and it's a touchdown. So now this game's going to the second overtime. Alabama with a run. That's going to be a first down, and they're already at about the 11-yard line. Second down and 11. Dropping back. He's going to look. He's got nowhere to go, and this pressure is getting in. Another fumble, but Alabama jumps on it again. That's two opportunities to end this game, and they couldn't do it. But another sack. This defense is playing ridiculous right now. A lot of fumbles and sacks, but just unable to put it away quite yet. Rashid throwing over the middle. That's going to be caught. Now their goal to go. Third down and goal. Can they end it? Throwing back in the end zone. Touchdown number 59 on the season. And he's got his team in the next round. Can Penn State go all the way? They are going to take care of South Alabama. It was a 28-10 game. A late touchdown made it 28-17, and now against Oregon, they are here in a 5-point deficit. If you watch these videos, you know how good Oregon is, how hard they are to beat, and Rashid throws one over the middle. That's going to be caught, and he is gone for the touchdown. Penn State's got the lead. They're going for two to make it a 3-point game with 5 to play. Rashid throwing outside, incomplete. Oregon with the football now, so they're going to have an opportunity, plenty of time, and just a 1-point deficit to go and come out here, win this game, knock out the Heisman Trophy winner in his record-breaking season, as they're going to run for the first down, now in enemy territory. A play action, rolling right. He's going to throw one on the run, caught on the back shoulder, burst down at the 30-yard line. Now they're at the 26, throwing again, and they're going to throw underneath. That's caught for the first down in the red zone. Oregon opts to just go and run the football, make Penn State use timeouts, make them drain clock, and it's going to be a field goal try. So Oregon was happy to not score a touchdown. It felt like they were running the football, but now they're going to leave Rashid some time, and they're going to run the football on third down. And now fourth down opportunity here with under a minute to play. The play calling's been questionable, and Rashid is going to get sacked. And that's going to be the game. Penn State goes down because Oregon just cannot lose in these big games. But I got to question the play calling there. They ran that football multiple times, and on a third down and 10, you run the football, and I just think you take the football out of this quarterback's hands who just set the record for the most touchdown passes in a regular season. I don't know why you're doing that, but regardless, I mean, it's still a record-breaking season, and Penn State had a historic year. We had Droogsma go in the draft. Pryor's looking good. He's looking to follow up on his best DB award-winning season with 8 interceptions because he grabbed one in the playoffs as well. And then Rashid obviously is going to take a big leap. He's the Heisman winner, reigning Heisman winner, and he's going to see if he can come out here and do it again. They got opportunity to go to a national championship because they're keeping both of their superstar players. One of these days, I will do a video where a player goes to Maryland and we actually get to watch them because Maryland just loves disappearing off the map. And look at Justice Turbin. What a jump from him. He was already pretty far along, but he is a 90 overall all of a sudden in his second season. And then we have Marty Elam, who is a 70 overall. That is curious. The number 1 overall prospect in the nation. If I got him and he was just a 70, it just goes into the fact route runners typically aren't great and their overalls always just start lower than the other 2 archetypes. So we're going to see if he could become good. Next season, we're going to see Pryor. He makes All-American, but not only that, back-to-back DB of the Year winner. That is something we have not seen in any of these videos, not in the cornerback video, and Penn State got a first-round bye. They sweep their way to the semifinals against TCU, and now they're here against Notre Dame, one step away from a national title appearance again, and a fumble there is going to be Penn State football. They got it with an opportunity to take this lead. 5 minutes to play. Rashid throwing over the middle, caught, and that's going to be a first inside the 15-yard line, down to the 11. It's second down and 2, throwing outside. That's going to be intercepted by Notre Dame, and Rashid throws a bad interception with 4 to go, but the defense is going to do their job to get a stop here with 3 to play, so Rashid's got another opportunity at it. Throwing over the middle, that's going to be caught for the first down inside the 30-yard line. Back to the line you go. He got another 3 touchdown passes in this game, but that one interception could haunt him. A sack there. Second down and 21 turns to 3rd and 21, and Rashid is going to throw underneath. He's going to just take the conservative route and make sure that they can get a game-tying field goal here to send this to overtime. It's going to be good, but now the defense, if they want to actually make it to overtime, needs to hold for 30 seconds, and they can't do that. They couldn't even hold for one play. Touchdown Notre Dame, and that's going to be how his career ends, it looks like, as Shaheed is going to go down. Pryor is going to go down, and Pryor's going to be graduating. He's going to the NFL, obviously, and I don't see why Rashid feels the need to come back for another season unless he wants to pull a little Andrew Luck action and come back when he was already going to be the lock for a #1 overall pick. He's not going to come back, and unfortunately, he is going to come like 10 touchdowns short of the all-time record. He almost hit like 155, so if he would have played a 4th season, he would have been in the record books for another reason. But what a career for him. I mean, that is ridiculous. And you know, we move on to what we have outside of Penn State. Justice Turbin, I mean, he already was at a point where he jumped up 11 overalls. We're not going to anticipate a whole lot of jumping from him. Our 70 overall, Marty Elam, he did take a decent leap up. He's going to be up to a 79 overall, so I mean, he's very elusive at least. And then we have our next quarterback. We have Antonio Tai, who went to Purdue. Purdue does not get involved. I don't even think they've been a part of any of these videos, so you know, interesting. #1 overall prospect going to Purdue, and we'll see if they have another Drew Brees on their hands. As we move on to the next guy, it's going to be a running back, so I love the offensive playmakers that we are seeing in this video. This season for the playoffs, we got Justice Turbin and Arkansas in there, and they're going to be taking on Oklahoma, so let's see if Justice Turbin can come out here, make some plays, get his team a playoff victory. A throw over the middle is going to be caught. Arkansas down by 7 in enemy territory, 4.5 to play, throwing one middle, that's going to be caught, and it's going to be caught for a first down and more inside the 25-yard line. Handoff is going to be at about the 10-ish yard line. First down gotten, though, is going to be 1st and 10. Slant route thrown, and that ball is a little behind the receiver. He still made the catch, got it to the 1-yard line, and it's going to be a read option into the end zone, so it's a tie game here. Oklahoma now looking to respond. Sweep on 3rd down. He tries to cut it up for the first. He doesn't quite get it. It's going to be little to go, but they're going to punt the football away. Under 2 to go, and a pass is caught for the first down, and now Arkansas can win this one in regulation. Throwing one tipped up in the air, incomplete. It's their turn on 4th and inches, and they're going to go for it, and they're going to run a sweep, and they're going to get it. And Arkansas, they did what Oklahoma was not willing to do and go for it on 4th and inches in this tight game. Now a pop pass is going to be for a first down, and timeouts are being used. Little time to play. It's a sweep right, and he's going to get stopped. But you run the clock down to 2 seconds and try to kick this game-winning field goal to put him into the next round. It's no good, and we're going to overtime. He missed a chip shot field goal for the win, and now Oklahoma's got a second chance and an interception in overtime. And Oklahoma, are they going to steal this game? 1st and 10, throwing outside. That's going to be caught, turning up the sidelines, and it's inside the 15-yard line. Now they could just take a field goal from here. But, I mean, Arkansas just missed. Maybe Oklahoma would too. They're going to try it, kick for the win. It's good. And Arkansas, that kicker's never going to live that one down. He loses the game. And unfortunately for Arkansas, they're going home. Despite being a 90 overall and the #1 receiver, Turbin doesn't put up a lot of production. We have Antonio Tai, not a good season at all. But, I mean, he is still early on in his career. And Jay Hurley is going to go through his career and do a whole lot of nothing in terms of team success. But he himself was pretty good, got to a high overall, ran pretty well. And then we have the next running back. As one comes out, another comes in. He'll be going to Miami. And look at Marty Elam. I might have doubted him. He walked in as a 70 overall. And look at him now, a 90 overall. That's 2 receivers in this video that have taken plus 11 jumps. And this one is pretty spectacular. He goes from 70 to 90 in just 2 seasons. Shaquem Rousseau is going to be a nice looking receiving back. A lot of room to grow for him. And he's at Miami, so he's going to get plenty of chances to become great. I made sure in this video that just because of how special this one is and how significant this one is, no one's going to be getting cut in this one. I made sure of that. Even if there was a potential for someone to get cut, I stepped in and made sure that that didn't happen. So we're going to get all 25 of these players. Elam finally getting into the running here. We had no playoff appearances, but Ty, I mean, for a #1 overall quarterback, this is bad stats. He's just putting up bad numbers. I don't know what's going on there. I don't see quarterbacks usually playing that bad. Turbin, not a whole lot of college production, but a lot of talent's going to put him into a day 2 pick. And then we have the next player, a linebacker who is a bust, but he's going to be going to Tulane. Marty Elam, I mean, again, he jumped up plus 11 overalls. I don't expect him to jump up that much more now that he's already gone up plus 20 in his career. Antonio Ty, you got to figure things out, man. I don't see quarterbacks usually playing that bad. I mean, like under 60% completion percentage. Quarterbacks in this game, there's one thing that they do in the sim. They throw a really good touchdown interception ratio and they'll complete like 70% of their passes. So if you're out here not even 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, completing under 55% of your passes, that's bad. We have a tight end up next, which is really interesting. A 6'7" possession tight end. That dude could be nuts. Players may not be getting cut, but injuries are still a factor, and we had our first one there. Elam got hurt, didn't get to play most of his season. Ty, I mean, better, but man, he's not good. Like, I don't get it. He's a high overall. He's looking pretty decent stat-wise when it comes to his attributes, and I mean, he's in an opportunity where he could succeed. I don't know if just Purdue stinks. I don't know if the team stinks. I don't know if he stinks, but like, look at him. This should be a good quarterback. Like, not obviously, you know, elite top level QB, but like, he should be pretty good. I don't know what's going on there. And we had the tight end. He went to Alabama, so I mean, we're gonna hope he gets to play pretty soon. Esteban Rico is the linebacker for Tulane. He's going to get an opportunity to step in and play a little bit more. And we have Witt. I mean, look at him. He looks really good, really far along as a pass catcher. Still a lot of room to grow in his blocking. He's going to be a pretty good player, so we're going to hope to see him on the field a little bit, as we didn't do a tight end video, so I don't have much when it comes to what the tight ends look like. I mean, a lot of tight ends don't get opportunities, but if you're one as good as him, he will be. Elam, I mean, okay season. Ty, weird. Really good touchdown interception ratio and touchdowns put up overall, but still just overall not an amazing season, and obviously didn't take his team to playoffs. We haven't been seeing a lot of playoff action with this crop of recent players. And Rico, look at it, 6 interceptions. That's pretty spectacular for a linebacker. Elam does get drafted. He still is a really talented player. Ty, I mean, he's got ability, first-round pick. I mean, he was a 93 overall by the time his career ended. Shaquem Rousseau, we're going to see if Miami can get into the mix. I'd like to see him on the field. He looks like he'd be a pretty fun player, but Miami hasn't made it yet. Maybe Tulane could make the playoffs. I don't know. Tulane's been a pretty nice team in these simulations. We don't get to see him very often, though. And then Alton Witt, I mean, he jumped up a pretty decent amount, and he's still got room to grow, and he should be able to be spectacular. And Alabama doubling up on recruits, and, you know, just like Penn State, we got players on both sides of the football, so we're going to definitely want to see if Alabama can get into the mix, because I love seeing players on both sides of the football, because that means offense or defense, we always got someone to keep an eye on. Another player now, a athlete quarterback, Orlando Beatty, is going to be out of Florida, looking pretty nice with his athleticism. And Alabama does make the playoffs, but my goodness, look at the injury list. That is ridiculous. Alton Witt is going to win best tight end, though, and no surprise, because he gets an opportunity to play, and he looks spectacular. And we got Alabama and Miami, both in the playoffs, both with a first-round bye, and Miami's going to cruise to a 21-point victory heading to the semifinals, and Alabama's going to cruise to an 18-point victory. So we're going to get a little Miami versus Alabama action, and it's going to be Rousseau, the running back, with a play right here, breaking a tackle and springing himself to the outside. It's going to be all the way down to the 30-yard line, so we're already getting to see a big play from him, play action. He picks up a nice block there on the outside, and Rousseau, I mean, he didn't get the football there, but that block saved them from getting sacked, and now they're in the red zone. A 3rd and long handoff. I don't know about that one, but they're going to get it to 4th and 4. They're going to go for it, so it was a 2-down call as they got themselves a closer 4th down. They get the 1st and goal, so I guess it wasn't a bad play call after all. 1st and goal. Quarterback going to hit as he's thrown. Back corner. Touchdown. He caught that, and he made that throw. What a play from the quarterback, and now he's going to go on the 2-point conversion and just take it himself. and the quarterback did a great job there. Now Alabama, the tight ends on the field to see if they can do something on offense, and they're going to have a run. Big one, 20-plus yards, and he slides down. 3rd down and 8 now as Miami is going to send the pressure, and it's going to be a screen dropped off for a 1st down, so Alabama keeping things alive here. Another pass, dropping back. You got a minute 20 to play. Throw underneath. That's going to be caught. Alabama's got time. They can tie this thing up here, but they're on 3rd down and 10 as they got a lot of time in the pocket, but the quarterback's just going to tuck and run it, and now they're definitely in field goal range. And now with 50 seconds to play, you're looking for the win. Plenty of time once again, throwing over the middle. He's going to get it for the touchdown, and now Alabama's got to look to their defense to hold for 30 seconds. It's 4th down and long, throwing over the middle. That's going to be caught for the 1st, so a little bit more of an opportunity here. You can set yourself up in Hail Mary range. Now they are in Hail Mary range. 20 seconds to play. You got another chunk one in you to give you a better chance. And that's Rousseau up the sidelines, and the running back got free. He ducks out of bounds. Smart from him. You got another couple of plays to get this into the end zone. He's going to tuck. He's going to run it, and he's in for the touchdown. And Miami, they got themselves a lead. 5 seconds to play. Hail Mary opportunity. Throwing it deep, and it's going to be caught, and he's going to get tracked down at the 10, and Miami's going to win it, but Alabama came close. That quarterback had quite the arm and almost pulled that one off at the end. So now you're in the national championship, but you were losing to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's got the football with 5 minutes to play. You're down by 7. Defense needs to do their job, get the football back, but Oklahoma's got another 1st down here in enemy territory. How about another sweep outside? And that's going to be another 1st down and another big play. And Oklahoma threatening to go up by 2 scores, 3rd down and 2. Throwing with 3 minutes to play. It's caught for the touchdown. And Oklahoma, a 2-score lead was too much to overcome. It was an exciting game against Alabama to get them there, but unfortunately they weren't able to get the job done. Rousseau did have a nice game against Alabama and did a good job throughout his career, and he's going to be going to the NFL. But, I mean, best tight end award winner, best DB award winner. We've had a Heisman winner already. So, I mean, the number 1 overall prospects also, a lot of them going in the 1st round. So, they've been living up to the billing so far. Orlando Beatty's going to go to East Carolina. I'm a little surprised that we've had a couple of unique destinations. We've had Purdue, East Carolina, Tulane. We've had a couple of just unique places that some of these prospects have wanted to go to, where I could have assumed that, you know, the number 1 overall prospect, they'd just be exclusively going to the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States, and maybe once in a while you'd get a Florida, even, you know, just a top-tier school or a second-tier school, but, you know, not a lot of non-power schools or American athletic schools or, you know, wherever the case may be. I didn't expect there to be that much distribution with these guys, but that's a good thing to see. And then we have Alton Witt. Now we have a 2-time Best Tight End Award winner. And Alabama, they're back in the playoffs, and they got a 1st round bye once more. They're going to be taking on Notre Dame here. It's a 7-6 game, and here is the tight end, back-to-back National Tight End of the Year award winner. 2 in a row, and he is going to have it to 2nd and inches, and a sweep here is going to get them the 1st down. So now running the clock down to the 2-minute warning. 3rd down, and they're going to throw one. There he is again. What a grab, and that's going to seal the game. So a 7-6 one. Not pretty, but he got the job done. And now against Oregon, the unbeatable juggernaut that is Oregon. If one team can do it, it's the Georgia, it's the Alabama, it's the Ohio State. It's one of these teams is going to be the ones to beat Oregon in some of these videos, because very rarely do they lose to some of the teams that aren't these powerhouse schools. And now with 1st and goal, handoff for the 2-score lead. They got it, and Alabama's going to take down Oregon. Oregon got a late touchdown, but they missed the onside kick. Nothing really to go crazy about. Now we're in the national championship, and you see that correctly. That is Western Kentucky in the national championship, and they got a lead. What is going on here? You don't see these types of outlier national champions that often, and Alabama's threatening to lose to them, but they got the ball. They are down by 3, throwing one outside. That's going to be caught, and now inside the 30-yard line. 1st down, 2.5 to play. Play action. He's going to drop back and get sacked. And now it's going to be 3rd down and long. Throwing once more. He's going to go outside. That's going to be intercepted. And Western Kentucky's got it with under 2 to play. But now trying to run the clock. They cannot get the 1st down. So Alabama's going to get another opportunity here. Can they get this game to at least to overtime? They're getting sacked, and they've gotten sacked a lot this game. 3rd down and 13. Long way to go. And another sack. What is Western Kentucky's pass rush? Who are these people? 4th down and 22. Throwing one and swatted down. Western Western Kentucky just won a national championship. I don't know what's going on in this video. We got all these #1 prospects and they're losing to the Hilltoppers. I don't know what's going on. I don't think I've seen Western Kentucky take home a national championship like that. It's very rare to see them go and win one, and I've done, you know, millions of simulations. I can't recall them winning one, but maybe they did. It's been so many simulations, so they all blend in. Obviously, the back-to-back national tight end of the year winner is going to be a top-level first-round pick, so he's going to be having a successful career in the NFL, probably, and he's a successful career in college football. Eric Babers, so we still have some Alabama love here with another player, so maybe we could go and see Alabama in the playoffs for a third straight season. Orlando Beatty is going to be finally stepping in as a starting quarterback in East Carolina, but he's looking a little limited because I don't know how high of an overall he's going to get to. We'll see if he gets drafted by the end of his career. And then we got Tyree Gray, a linebacker who's going to be going to Auburn, and he's looking pretty good off the bat. He's going to be, you know, good enough to get on the field a little bit. And then the next guy here is going to be Brooks. Tucker Brooks, another linebacker, this time on the outside, but he's a pass coverage guy. And then we have Esteban Rico. I mean, Tulane didn't end up ever making the playoffs, but he had a really good career. I know his overall didn't end up getting super high, but he was really good. And a 4-year starter, he's going to get drafted, well deserved. So we're going to be moving on. And then look at that, Liberty, they're on the board. I don't think we've had a player go to Liberty in one of these videos. So a lot of unique teams getting involved here, and Liberty's getting themselves the best linebacker in the nation, potentially, and Tyree Gray is developing quite nicely, and he's going to be moving on to a 84 overall. Orlando Beatty, just another very minimal bump for him, so like I said, I don't know what he's going to end up being because he's already almost at his ceiling. Tucker Brooks, he's, speaking of ceiling, that's a pretty sky-high ceiling, and he's got elite development, so this dude could be nuts, and we'll see if he could help Liberty get over the hump and get themselves into the playoffs. They are one of the better non-Power 5 teams, and this is terrifying. We have a bust route runner. That might be awful, but we go to the playoffs here, and we have Alabama against Ole Miss. Ole Miss goes down. Alabama is out here doing their thing, another dominant victory in the playoffs, and they're going to be taking on Miami. So we got a little rematch here as Eric Babers is going to have himself an opportunity to avenge what happened previously against Miami, as Miami down by 4 with the football. There's no Rousseau, there's no Witt, but it's still a really strong team. Alabama is going to be going all the way on the pick six, and they're going to be punching their ticket to a national championship. And I don't know if Western Kentucky's going to be standing in their way. It will, in fact, be USC, not Western Kentucky. So no underdog story this year. One of these big teams is going to be winning it. One of these big powerhouse schools, as USC's down 19-14. So Alabama close to sealing this one up and finally getting that national championship. They got a first down here to the 45-yard line. And moving along, clock being chewed, under 2 minutes to play after this one. And now 3rd down and 5. They're going to be rolling around, throwing one. That's going to be caught for the touchdown. And Alabama, they are able to avenge it. And while the tight end Witt isn't going to get that national championship, the school still does. And Babers was a rotational edge rusher. And he got banged up a lot. So, I mean, he did end up playing and wasn't able to play a full season, but he contributed to a national championship, so we have that at least, and we have a couple of nice linebackers in the world of college football and seeing what they're able to do. Babers does go get drafted in day 2, a lot of draft picks, and we have a transfer. We finally get on the board there as Brooks is going to go to Maryland, which puzzling decision, as you'll soon see. But Orlando Beatty basically maxed out at this point, just a little bit on the accuracy that'll probably get throughout the season. Tyree Gray looking really good. Now 96 overall with the boost from the coaches, so he's going to be going to the NFL for sure. And then we have Brooks. Yeah, I mean, he didn't get to have the development because obviously he's a transfer, and he's 5th on the depth chart, so now we're worried about him. And then look at this. This dude stinks. This is like the worst person we've had in any of these videos. He's a 70 overall normal dev. If I got the #1 overall player in the nation and he was a 70 overall normal, I would have cried. That is so bad. That is horrible. He's terrible. And Orlando Beatty, I mean, he thought he was getting himself a demon wide receiver, and he got himself a bum. He got himself a guy who probably should have been a 2-star prospect, but the next guy, he's going to be going to Clemson. We'll see if we can get some of these guys into the playoffs, but for East Carolina, you know, they are not exactly a playoff favorite. And then moving on to what Auburn has, I mean, you'd think Auburn can make the playoffs, but I don't often see Auburn getting into the mix for national championship contention. Obviously, we see that Maryland never makes it and never shows out some of these players. And Brooks, I mean, took a big leap, and he's really good now. And look at DeAndre Suggs. Look at this guy. He's getting a little bit better. I mean, he's already up to a 79, but that's basically his ceiling practically. So, I mean, he's probably going to not get drafted at this point. And Cameron Hill, a lot of room to grow for him. So a nice safety here for Clemson. We should be able to maybe see him. And then the next guy, we have our first tackle or an offensive lineman. Now, I don't know what to really do with offensive lineman because even if whoever he goes to is good, do you want to watch an offensive lineman? I don't think so, but we'll see how that unfolds. Tucker Brooks looking pretty good. He finally got the start at Maryland because he was 5th on the depth chart last season. And look at Suggs. I mean, 1,000-yard season. I guess that's all he needed was an opportunity. So maybe he is the #1 overall recruit for a reason. Orlando Beatty does end up getting drafted. He got to an 89 overall by the time his career ended. And look at Tucker Brooks. He started 1 season at Maryland. He's out of there. He's going to Michigan to join the #1 overall recruit. That tackle, both going to Michigan. Tyree Gray, I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't gone to the NFL by now. He could probably leave if he wanted to. He's been a 90 overall for a couple of seasons. DeAndre Suggs, yeah, he's already at his ceiling. So, I mean, his absolute max is just an 81 overall. So, I mean, that's probably not going to result in him ever getting drafted or maybe even getting a training camp invite or something. But Brooks, I mean, it's disappointing in a way because he's already transferred twice. He's already on his 3rd team. He's only had 1 true season of development, and he's an 88 overall. I would like to have known what would happen if he actually got to just stay on a team and develop, but I mean, he's just wanted to move around. We got another linebacker, so we got a lot of linebackers as of late. Ragnow is the next one, and then we have Gray. I mean, pretty nice career for a guy who spent a couple of years as a 90-plus overall. Brooks, instant starter, pretty nice. He seems to be able to go wherever and be good. Suggs, he just took a backseat, I guess. And then Hill, decent stuff for a starting safety. But Gray, obviously, high overall player, goes in the 1st round. And Brooks, he's tired of Michigan. He's going to be moving on to North Carolina. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he just wants to make the playoffs or something because he's doing everything he can to try to just move teams. I don't know what you think you're doing here. He's already on his 4th team in 5 seasons, so I don't know what's going on there. We haven't seen that in one of these videos where a player literally just transferred like almost every single season. It would have been funny if he did transfer literally every year, but at 4 teams in 5 years, I don't know what that says for what he's going to be as an NFL player because he's definitely going to the NFL. But next player, David Ragnow, looking pretty solid, elite development, another 78 overall, very good dev player, nice ceiling, but a lot of linebackers as of late kind of hit that slow point. We have a running back here where he's going to be a power back but a bust, but at least it's somebody who could touch the football. Brooks, he makes the All-American team, and look at him, he's finally in the playoffs, and look at he's taking on his former team in Michigan. I can't really say he was right or wrong to transfer because he probably would have ended up in the same spot playing in this game as Michigan has a 7-point lead. He's looking to be on the wrong side of history, though, if he can't come out here and win, prove himself right for transferring for a 3rd time in his college career. But North Carolina, they're doing their job on offense, throwing one intercepted, and not anymore as Michigan has the football, taking it back the other way. I mean, North Carolina's defense has done a good job, only 14 points allowed, and now 1st down, they're going to be throwing over the middle, that's going to be intercepted, and with under 2 minutes to play, North Carolina has a chance to come back and try to tie this game. North Carolina dropping to throw, he's going to step up, he's going to run it, he's got the 1st down, he's inside the 20-yard line, timeout used, minute 15 to play, throwing one, it's going to be caught in, it's a touchdown, and we are going to be going to overtime. It's 14-14, Michigan with the football, he's going to break out of a sack, but not 2, he goes down, 3rd down and 7, drop him back again, throwing one, end zone, touchdown, Michigan, and now North Carolina, they need to score a touchdown to keep this thing alive, throwing one outside, that's going to be caught in, it's a touchdown on 1 play, and now it's going to be up into a 2nd overtime. Michigan on defense now, throwing one on the RPO, it's going to be caught for the 1st at the 12-yard line, now they're inside the 10, 3rd down and 5, he's going to get sacked, and they're going to have to settle for the field goal, so now it's going to be up to the defense to try to put this thing away, and can Tucker Brooks take down one of his former teams? They're going to be throwing outside for the 1st down, and they are less than 15 yards away. 3rd down and 4 outside. That's going to be caught, and he stopped at the 1. But now, 1st and goal, 1-yard line, quarterback keeper, touchdown, Michigan. And Tucker Brooks, well, how unfortunate of a college career is that for him? He transfers every single season, basically. And maybe Tucker Brooks was taught a very valuable lesson here. stick around, trust the process, don't up and leave the first opportunity you get, the first sign of adversity it felt like. But man, I mean, 4 seasons as a starter on 4 different teams. He was pretty decent everywhere he went, so obviously that's going to translate to the NFL. Maybe shocking, maybe not. The 70 overall normal dev player did not end up getting drafted in his career, so you know, that ends a pretty good streak, and we've had just about everybody get drafted. I mean, obviously the #1 overall recruit, if you can't get drafted being the #1 overall player in college, I mean, that might be something on your end that might have went wrong. As the next player that we have gotten in, he's going to go to Virginia Tech. It is a running back. He is only impact development, but I mean, at least it's a running back who's got a nice ceiling. He's not a receiving back, so I mean, receiving backs, in my opinion, are the worst. So being a power back, he's going to have an opportunity to eventually get good. And then the next guy we got here, an athlete. He's listed as a power rusher, though. So that's outside linebacker, D-end type of player. So we'll see where he ends up going. And Clemson, I'm surprised. A 4-year starter at safety, and we never got to see him. Clemson never made the playoffs. So I can definitely say this is one of the more random save files that I've had in a Dynasty mode with some teams who are successes and aren't successes. But Michigan's able to snatch up another top-rated player. David Ragnow, he's looking pretty good at Ole Miss, but they're not able to kind of get in the mix at all. Jeremy Whitaker, I mean, he's an offensive lineman who's not been able to play much in his career. And then we got Anthony Meeks. He's going to play defensive end, and he looks really good. So, you know, we're going to see if he can end up becoming a superstar level player. He's elite dev. And then Tim Hicks, I mean, impact development, so obviously a little slower rate of development, but we got another safety on the board, and you know, we lost that Clemson safety, didn't get an opportunity to see him play, but maybe we get to see this guy play. Ragnow is able to be an adequate starter power rusher. The safety is going to end up going to Georgia Tech. And Jeremy Whitaker, it's going to take him the full college career, but he's finally going to end up playing for Michigan. And I guess that's just what happens when you go to Michigan, you know, them building up the trenches. But Meeks isn't going to have to wait quite as long. He's going to end up playing in his 2nd season. And then Ragnow, looking pretty good. He'll be an NFL player. But I want to see some of these guys in action a little bit. As Tim Hicks, he's actually looking pretty nice now and is going to be able to be a starter for his Virginia Tech team. So maybe we'll get to see him in some action. And Georgia Tech getting the safety. I mean, another team that doesn't often get involved in these videos, and another team that I don't often see succeed in simulation. So I got a good feel on what teams do and don't do well, and Georgia Tech doesn't really ever seem to do well, but another linebacker. It's been very linebacker heavy on this back half, and Ragnow is going to be, you know, probably leaving college maybe this year if he wants to declare. Whitaker, as you can see, he only played 1 season, a 1-year starter. Meeks played that designated pass rusher role and racked up 8 sacks in his time playing, so pretty good there. And look at Hicks. That's a pretty good season. 6.5 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns. I mean, that's really efficient, and Ragnow does end up going to the NFL, so, I mean, Virginia Tech could be pretty good if they go into another season, a little bit more players developing. We could be able to see that running back play, and he's looking really nice now. Alabama also grabbed the linebacker, but I mean, it's been a pretty dry back half because there's been a lot of linebackers, and obviously, you know, depending on the positions you get, they have different impacts on the team. A linebacker isn't going to impact the team quite as much as a quarterback or a running back or whatever the case may be, but we still have an opportunity to see some of these players in action, and as we do have just 2 players yet to be uncovered, and then the guys that we currently have are coming close to the end, but I want to see some of these guys in action, see if we can make any more spectacular plays or moments in this video. The second to last player we got for you is a quarterback, so we will have an opportunity to see if another one of these quarterbacks, which end of the spectrum will he fall on? Will he be more like that Purdue quarterback, or will he set records like the Penn State guy? And then we got playoff action finally, and we get to see the running back who had a monster season last year, averaging 6.5 yards a carry, running for over 1,200 yards. They're in the playoffs. They're against LSU. They're down by 5, and they're going to throw a shot over the middle. What a grab, and he's got it to the 30-yard line. It's going to be a read option. He faked it to the running back. He's got the first, and he's got it in the red zone. So now with 3 minutes to play, man in motion. Quarterback going to roll right, and he's just going to throw it out of bounds. 4th down. They're going to take the field goal. Interesting decision, but now 34-32, LSU throwing one. That's going to be intercepted on 3rd down. And I guess the field goal decision wasn't that bad because now they're back in field goal range with under 2 minutes to play and an opportunity to win this game. Quarterback going to step up and run it. He's going to run for the 1st down, not slide, take the contact, and a timeout used, and now sweep it to the running back, Hicks. He's going to go outside, and he's going to get the touchdown, and it looks like that could be the game winner. LSU now down by 5. They're going to throw one outside. That's going to going to be caught on 3rd down, but short of the marker. It's 4th down and 2. Last chance. He's going to throw one quick, and it's going to be dropped over the middle, and LSU goes down. They had a major mistake. They're throwing that interception. Now Virginia Tech gets to go and put up 34 points and destroy TCU. They're on to the semifinals, and they're taking on Toledo, an undefeated Toledo. And for those of you who watched the Ohio video in the past couple of uploads, you know that Toledo's like that, so don't take them lightly as they're going to be down by 5. Toledo with the football, 3rd down. They're going to go and get sacked here, so Virginia Tech's going to get the opportunity to get the football back. Good field position, 4 minutes to play. Throw it over the middle. It's going to be caught for the first. And Toledo now in position to potentially give up this lead. 3.5 to play. Screen set up, and Hicks got the ball, and he's got the first down inside the 10, and he has been the guy to go to for this offense, and he's got the touchdown. Virginia Tech 1 step away from a national championship, and the 2-point conversion is going to be incomplete, but they still got a 1-point lead. 2.5 to play. Handoff. It's going to be a big run for Toledo, and they're already in enemy territory. Under 2 to go. 1.5 throwing one short. That's going to be caught, and he's got the first down, so now they're just about in field goal range. Opportunity to go and seal this game up. Can Toledo make a national championship? Field goal is good, and Toledo has gone and made a national championship. But not only that, they won. They went 17-0. I don't think I've seen that very often, if at all. And that's not going to take away from the fact that Hicks had a monster season. What a yards per carry. He put up those numbers. He missed 4 games. What a year. But man, 17-0, that's hard to accomplish. And that's not just because of winning 17 games, but to be in the position to win. Because if you go undefeated and win your conference championship, chances are you get a first-round bye. But they didn't. So they won the conference championship, didn't get a first-round bye, and then won 4 playoff games. You know how hard that is to do? Because, like I said, it's not even just the difficulty of doing that and winning 17 games. It's to be put in that position. Focusing back on what we have here, Kevin Ness is going to be going to Tennessee, so a really good spot for him. Tennessee always does good with the quarterbacks and is able to go and put them in good situations to succeed and going to be airing it out. Last guy is going to be an offensive lineman, but he is a gem, so he's looking really good. And then we have Meeks. I mean, he is injured, but he made All-American. And you could look at this. This is an incredible career, but take into account that he put up over 30 career sacks in 29 games as a starter. Because the first season, I don't count the first season because he didn't start. You know, he didn't really do much, but he put up 35 sacks and 29 starts. That is spectacular, and he's going to obviously be a high draft pick. The final guy is going to go to Nebraska, so they're going to have a starting offensive lineman. Fasano, looking really good. He's looking spectacular, and he is going to be at Alabama still, so maybe they can find themselves in the playoffs. Alabama's already won a national championship in this video. And then Ness, he's already a starter for his Tennessee squad, so this is it. These are the last couple of players. We're going to be going through these guys' careers, and whatever happens, and then we'll get into the final results. But we have a lot of positions, a lot of different players, a lot of unique players and locations that we've seen. Tennessee goes and makes the playoffs. They are in the playoffs against Troy, and in the first round, I mean, you go and put up 31-0 in the first half. You're going to cruise to a victory and move on to the second round. You're against East Carolina, so Orlando Beatty couldn't take this team to a deep playoff run or anything, but this random East Carolina squad, what they have from the remains of that Orlando Beatty and that awful 70 overall normal development player, I mean, that team couldn't make the playoffs, but this one did, and a pick there is going to lead to a touchdown for East Carolina. So now we're going to need Ness to come out here with a game-winning drive. Does he got one in him? He's going to get sacked. So no, he does not potentially on 4th down and 15. Game on the line. He's going to be backing up all the way to his end zone, throwing one deep, and it's going to be off the receiver. Incomplete. And East Carolina is able to run the clock down, put up a field goal, give them no time, and that's going to be game. So, I mean, that last play, the quarterback, I mean, underthrew it a little bit, but yeah, the receiver's got to turn around and try to catch that football. He wasn't even aware of it. Ness, he did put up a pretty nice season, but he only played 7 games, so dealing with a little bit of injury troubles. Georgia Tech, I mean, their safety never made the playoffs. He's going to go to the NFL. Fasano, surprised we haven't gotten to see him. Alabama's been lacking since they won that national championship, but Ness, since he dealt with injury, is it going to take a big leap? He didn't get as much, you know, in-game experience to go and jump up in overalls. And, you know, for Nebraska, this offensive lineman, he's a day 1 starter for them, was fine as a freshman, but there's not really much to quantify when it comes to offensive lineman statistics. In the second season for Ness as a starter, he gets injured again, and Tennessee goes 9-3. He played 8 games this time instead of 7, so, I mean, improvements, but, I mean, that potentially could have held them back from making the playoffs because they keep having to turn to their backup quarterback. Now Biggers and Ness are the only players we have left, and we're going to see if we can get Ness into the playoffs. And once again, I mean, he didn't play a full season. He's not developing as well because he's missed, 4 games and then 5 games. Tennessee, they were number 11 in the nation, 9-3 again. He couldn't make the playoffs. I mean, when you finish number 11 in the nation, you'd think that's playoffs, but I guess not. So we're going to be on to the final season. Biggers is a true senior, Ness is a redshirt senior, and it's going to be it. Whatever happens in this year is going to be how we wrap things up. Ness finally took a little bit bigger of a leap here in this next year up to a draftable player, and they are going to make the playoffs, a first-round bye, and they're going to be taking on Oklahoma in the second round, and Ness has got himself a 3-point lead. Oklahoma with the football. Quarterback going to run ahead for the first down, and now moving the football down by 3. 3 minutes to play. Handoff. It's going to be a lane hurdling over a dude, and that's going to be a first down at midfield. And now in enemy territory, another handoff. This one's going to get stopped. It's 4th down and 3. You need to go for it here, and they go and get it on the bubble screen. So first down at the 40. You're in field goal range potentially. Throwing one, and now you're definitely in field goal range with that grab. Second down. Throwing again outside. That's going to be jumped and intercepted. And now taking it back the other way. Can he take it the distance? No, he cannot. He gets brought down. And now with a minute to play, it's going to be a handoff. And the running back's going to find a lane. And he's off to the races. And Tennessee is moving on to the semifinals. And the quarterback, Ness, didn't really have to do all that much there. The defense got the interception. The running back put it in the end zone. And now Ness is going to be up by 7 against Florida State. On third down, Ness is going to have it short of the marker. So Florida State's going to have the opportunity to make this tie game. And they're going to have this over the middle, already at midfield. 2 minutes to play. Play action. 3rd down and 2. And he's going to get sacked. So now it's 4th down and 8. Dropping to throw. The defense trying to save this game. Put it away. And they're going to potentially do that. It's 3rd down. They're going to trust Ness to throw it for the win. He gets it short. And now they're going to go for it here. Bold call. Putting the game in their quarterback's hands. And he can't do it. The first down would have ended it. Now Florida State's got a second life. Pass is going to be caught inside the 30. And now suddenly Florida State in position to score a touchdown. They're going to be throwing outside. Caught. And they're inside the 15 now. Now inside the 5. 3rd and inches. Throwing. Back in the end zone. It's a touchdown. And we're going to overtime here. Ness play action. He's throwing to a wide open receiver for the touchdown. And now Florida State's going to have to respond. They need to go to 42 points if they want to win this one. And it's going to be inside the 5 already. First down and goal. Drop him back. Blitz is sent. He's going to run, break a tackle, and he gets into the end zone. So now Florida State's going to have it 42-42, second overtime. Throwing one, first play of overtime. Wide open touchdown. And now 2-point conversion to make it a 50-42 game. It's incomplete. So now Ness trying to win this game here. He's going to immediately throw an interception. Every time they put the ball in Ness's hands with an opportunity to win the game, he failed. And now they're going to be going home. And that's how his college career ends. Finally played a full season, put up some nice numbers, but couldn't get it done in the big moments. And that's going to wrap things up for the simulation. So now, as we see where these two players get drafted, obviously high draft picks, we're going to get into all the stats, all the information, and all the statistics right now. Taking a look at location to start, like always in previous videos, we have done position specific, and certain positions are unique to a certain area. More often than not, some areas will produce more of the same position, but when we put everything together, we see that, the dominant states, Florida, Texas, and Georgia, were pretty prevalent, but they are in most positions. In every video we have done, basically, Florida, Texas, and Georgia are pretty involved, but then we had a couple of other outliers. Like, I was shocked to see Delaware. When I seen Delaware, I scrolled to see the specific amount of players from Delaware. There were about 10 players from there, but one just happened to be the #1 player in the nation. And another surprise, no California. California is one of the 5 bigger spots that you see players come from, and there were none there. But Florida, Texas, Georgia, obvious to see them in the running for the most amount of players. When it came to the positions that these players were, no dominant positions, very spread out. We had almost everything. The only things that we didn't have were interior linemen. We didn't have a guard, center, or D tackle, but everything else was covered. The most was quarterback with 4, but 3 receivers, 3 ends, 3 outside linebackers, 3 running backs, 2 corners, 2 tackles, 2 safeties, 2 linebackers, and a tight end. So it's very balanced, very well spread out, and the only thing we didn't see was just interior presence, but you're getting a wide variety of players when it comes to the number 1 overall guy. Then there's scouting and development related things. There were 4 bust, 4 gems, and the rest were pretty standard. And the thing was, the busts weren't even that bad, aside from the one guy. But aside from the one person who was a 70 overall route-running wide receiver who was a bust and had normal development, everything else was pretty good. And even the impact players became stuff, even the bust players became stuff aside from that receiver. And then, 20 out of 25, star or elite. A lot of really high-end players. I'm pretty sure like the first 10 were all star or better. So, to no surprise, the best player in the nation, more often than not, 80% of the time, star or elite dev. And you've seen with some of the skill caps that they had. Some of them just had 0 skill caps, were all 10 out of 10. So you're getting ridiculously high potential players most of the time. The development path gave us our best results because of the fact that we had so many high development players. And this is taking into account, we had 2 wide receivers walk in as 70 overall. So I would imagine if you took out the year 1 and year 2 of those players, because they were, one of them eventually took a big jump, but for the most part, those 2 70 overall players dragged down the year 1 and year 2 averages. But by year 4, you're getting 88 to 89, but you're getting just a straight up NFL caliber player, a day 2 draft pick, or even a first round draft pick. You're getting a really good player by the end of their career, 9 times out of 10, basically, even higher percentages than that. The highest starting overall we only got an 81, which is still really good, but there were other videos where we've had 82, we've even seen 84, and then like I said, we had 270 overall wide receivers come in. We didn't also see the highest of highs, 94, again, that's pretty normal, but we've had videos where we've seen 95, 96. The lowest final overall, like I said, that 170 overall normal dev receiver was an 81. Aside from that, everyone else was like 86 plus. We had the biggest jump in one season came from 2 separate plus 11s from wide receivers. Wide receivers take big jumps at any given point, so both of them were wide receivers. The biggest career jump, again, was a wide receiver. One of the 70 overalls we had jumped up 21 overalls, eventually became a 91. And then the lowest career jump was actually a quarterback that we had who went from 79 to 86. But even still, 86 overall was the second lowest rated player we had by the end of a player's career. The other bits of info to throw at you, all but one player was drafted. Like I said, just that one bad receiver, but every single other person was drafted. Not only that, about half of them were first round picks, and just about I don't have the exact numbers, but I'd say about 20 of them maybe were first, second, third round picks. All really high caliber players. 9 of them ended up making it to a 5th year. Quarterbacks typically go to their 5th season because they get redshirted, but we had a couple of other guys make it there. 14 of the 25 players hit 90 overall going into their final season. It's a really high rate. 5 of them made All-Americans. 5 of them were athletes walking in, so again, really high volume results when it came to just 90 plus overall, high-end players, first round draft picks. And finally, the best of the best, a lot of individual success. And starting at the top, Bradley Rashid, what a season he had. 65 touchdown passes. Obviously, that was including playoffs, but in the regular season, 56 touchdown passes, won a Heisman, and he did this all in 3 seasons. If he played a 4th year, he would have smashed the touchdown record pretty easily. He was incredible. And then Stephen Pryor was on the team with him at the same time, had 2 separate seasons of 8 interceptions, both took home Best Defensive Back. Anthony Meeks, he started the final 3 seasons of his career, but never played a full season, was playing 10 or less games in those seasons, but 29 games started, 35 sacks. Incredibly effective when he did play. Alton Witt, amazing tight end, 2-time Best Tight End Award winner. only started 2 seasons, won the best tight end award both times, made it to a national championship. He was really good. And then Tim Hicks was a player who just succeeded in the 2 years that he played. He was also a bust player. The thing that I find really interesting is Pryor and Hicks were both busts. So we only had 4 of busts throughout the whole video, but 2 of them made the best of the best, and the other one even was a really nice linebacker from Tulane. So the bust, 3 of the 4 busts were really good. Hicks started 2 seasons in his career, put up 1,200 yards in both seasons, 15 touchdowns plus in both seasons, averaged over 6.5 yards per carry, 105 yards per game, made the playoffs, was really successful. So he was a really nice running back who I tried to get to play another season. He wanted to go to the draft and be like a 4th round pick, so good on him. But there was a lot of individual success and awards and accolades attached to these players. Not as much team success because, you know, none of these players went out and won a national championship. I thought Penn State had a chance, they couldn't do it. Witt made, you know, a championship, couldn't do it. Hicks made it to the playoffs, couldn't do it. Meeks, we didn't even get to see Meeks really play, but still he was really good, so it was hard to leave him off this. But a lot of individual success, a lot of really talented players, and overall that will do it for this video, and I hope you guys all enjoyed. Let me know who you thought was the best player. I feel like the quarterback was good, but if you really value how good that defensive back was or the tight end was, these are some of the best players that we have seen in any of these videos. So let me know what you guys all think, and like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff is super helpful as I continue to get these videos out, and I will see you guys all in the next one.